Hello and welcome to our next video on addition and subtraction of positive and negative fractions. I just want to draw your attention again to the upper right where we have the same chart we used in the addition and subtraction of integer video about how to determine what sign your answer is going to be. Let's try some examples. Example number 1 is 1/4 plus 3/5. I know that some of you may struggle with finding common denominators, so I'm going to show you a strategy for adding and subtracting fractions that doesn't require you to find a common denominator. The first thing you have to do is multiply the two denominators. So 4 times 5 is going to be 20. Place that in the bottom of a new fraction. The second step is to start in the upper left, so 1 in our case, and multiply by the lower right. Now it's important that you start in the upper left, especially with regards to subtraction. So once we do that, we get 5 times 1, which is 5. Positive 5. The next step is we are going to go to the upper right and multiply by the lower left. So 4 times 3 is positive 12. You'll find that when we're working with negatives, that'll be a negative sign there, but a plus sign for a positive number is fine. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the operation. So here we have 5 plus 12. Well, 5 plus 2 is 7. So this would make it 17 in the top, 20 in the bottom. 17 and 20 isn't able to be simplified. So the final answer is 17 over 20. So 1/4 plus 3/5 is 17 over 20. Let's take a look at another example. In this example, you see we have a negative 4/5 and a positive 1/3. We start by multiplying the denominator. So 5 times 3 is 15. And I'm going to put that in the denominator. Now, when you're dealing with signage, we want to make sure that the negative sign becomes associated with the numerator in this case. So here it's negative 4 times 3. Okay, so negative 4 times 3 is going to be negative 12. Then I move over to the upper right. I have 1 times 5 is going to be positive 5. So I just want to point out here, when it was negative 12, I make sure that the integer has a negative sign. When it was positive 5, it's okay to put plus 5 there, just like with the last example. From here, we do the operation. So negative 12 plus 5. Now here is where the knowledge of adding and subtracting integers is going to come in handy for us. We have a negative and a positive, so I'm going to subtract. And then my larger integer is 12, which is a negative number. So I know my answer is going to be negative, and I have to do 12 minus 5. Well, 12 minus 2 is 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. So I get negative 7 over 15. So negative 4/5 plus 1/3 is going to be negative 7/15. Let's try another one. In this example, I have negative 7/8 and a negative 1/6. We start by multiplying the denominator. 8 times 6 is 48. Next, starting in the upper left, I have negative 7 times 6. That's going to be negative 42. Moving to the upper right, we have negative 1 times 8, which is going to be negative 8. It's important to remember that the sign should be associated with the top number. So when you're using this method, make sure that you're taking the correct sign. Now we do the operation. I'm left with here negative 42 minus 8. Well, I have two of the same sign. That means I'm going to add and make the answer negative. So I know my answer is going to be negative, and then I have to do 42 plus 8. Well, 42 plus 8 is 50, so that means I have negative 50 over 48, which can be simplified. So they're both even numbers, so we could try 2, which is what we'll do. We have negative 25 over 24. Let's try another example. In this example, I have negative 3 1/2 and a positive 2 1/3. When dealing with mixed numbers, it's probably best to convert them to improper fractions. So, if you don't remember how to do that, we'll show you right here. What we have to do is we have to multiply the whole number times the denominator and add the top number. So we have 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So my first number is going to be negative 7/2. In our second mixed number, we have 2 times 3 is 6 again, plus 1 is 7/3. But this time we have a positive. Okay. All right, but now we can work out our process here. I'm going to start by multiplying the denominators, and I get 6 in the bottom. Then I'm going to go to the upper left, negative 7 times 3 is going to be negative 21. I'm going to move to the upper right, positive 7 times 2 is going to be plus 14. I see here I have a negative number and a positive number. That means I'm going to subtract and take the larger number. 21 is larger than 14, so I know my answer will be negative, and I have 21 minus 14 all over 6. So my answer is negative, and 21 minus 14 is 7. The 6 remains. The 6 remains, and I am left with negative 7 over 6. Let's look at another one. Here we have 5 4/5 minus 7 2/3. So again, I'm going to convert here to my mixed numbers to improper fractions. We're going to start by doing 5 times 5 is 25, plus 4 is 29, so we have 29/5. And then here I have 7 times 3 is 21, plus 2 is 23, so it's a negative 23 over 3. what we can do now is we can multiply the denominators. So I have 15 in the bottom. Here I have a 29 times 3. Well, 3 times 20 is 60, and 3 times 9 is 27. 60 plus 27 is going to be 87. Here I have negative 23 times 5. So negative 23 times 5. So 5 times 20 is 100. 5 times 3 is 15. So it's going to be negative 115. All right, I have a positive 87 and a negative 115. That means I am going to subtract. So I'm going to subtract. 115 is bigger than 87, so I know my answer is going to be negative. So now when I'm subtracting here, I want to focus first on the hundreds and the tens place here, right? 11 minus 8 is 3. So that leaves me with 35. 35 minus 7. Well, 35 minus 5 is 30, and 30 minus 2 is going to be 28. Negative 28 over 15, and that cannot be simplified. We have one more example in this video. We have negative 9/8 plus negative 1/4. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to look at that double operation. Remember, we talked about the plus negative or minus a negative, right? That double operation. So I have one negative and one positive. That's going to make my 1/4 negative. So if I rewrite this as negative 9 over 8 and negative 1 over 4. I can start with multiplying my denominators. 8 times 4 is going to be 32. And stopping in the upper left, I'm going to do negative 9 times 4. So negative 9 times 4 is going to be negative 36. Then I'm going to move over to the other side. I have negative 1 times 8 is going to be negative 8. I have a negative and a negative, so I know I'm going to add, and my answer will be negative. So I have negative 36 plus 8 over 32. 36 plus 8 is going to be negative 44, right? Plus 4 plus 4. And then both of these are divisible by 4. So if you wanted to do by 2 and then 2 again, you could do that. Or if you saw 44 is 4 times 11, you could do that as well. So we have negative 11 in the top, we have 8 in the bottom, and that's going to be our final answer. So if you have any questions about this material, feel free to ask your math teacher or send us an email. Thanks.